Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Speaking Consulting Network podcast. My name is Kevin Henry. I'm not only honored to be the host of this podcast, but also a member of the Speaking Consulting Network, and that's where I have run into in the past my guest today, and that is Sophia Dunkley. Hey Sophia, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's my honor, and it's been great fostering a relationship that we've made at the Speaking Consulting Network. So I'm happy to be here with you today.
Hey, we're going to have a good time today. I know we're going to talk about case acceptance in a few minutes, but I want to talk to you first. I want our audience to know a little bit more about you. I want your superpowers, your passions, things like that. So let us know who Sophia Dunkley is.
Yeah, so it's my pleasure. So I've been in dentistry since 1994. And I got introduced to dentistry while I was in college. I was introduced from the job placement office. Hey, it might be a good idea for you to work in a dental office. And so I did. I fell in love and never left. I developed a passion for the business side of dentistry and started to look for solutions to be able to solve the problems and challenges that I was seeing. And so at the time, my doctors were looking into consultants, and I started to pique my curiosity as to what consulting and coaching was about. And the biggest pain point that I felt at the time was over-the-counter collections. How do we get patients to say yes to the dentistry? And so I started to go to continuing ed. One of the first continued eds that I did was Linda Miles, and she taught me, after you ask for payment, the next person who speaks loses, right? And I was like, and that was like around 1997, 98.
Awesome.
From there, I worked with Kathy Jameson. She was my business coach and consultant trainer as well. And I've taken a couple of certification courses with her at NYU. And so that's where my passion for the business side of dentistry started. By 2000, I had started my consulting business, helping doctors resolve challenges in their practices, such as understanding their software, maximizing their software, insurance billing, but more importantly, that very important case acceptance side of it. And so have done a lot of training at LVI, NYU, on how to present dentistry in a way that is compassionate, caring, but it's a win-win not only for the doctors, but the team and also the patients, right? The patients, we're helping to change their lives. We're increasing their quality of life as they get older. And so it's our jobs to basically educate them on that. And so with all of the certifications that I've gone through over the years with communication, case acceptance, and I'm still working on it to this day. So I have, I'll say 25-year plus in dentistry. But for the most part, I've been doing this for quite some time, and I have quite a passion for it.
I love the Linda Miles flashback. I've got to be honest with you, because as soon as you said that, I could hear her saying that in my head.
Yes.
So that is fantastic.
Yes.
Well, let's dive into, as we record this podcast, we're getting near the end of the year. We're heading into those final 2 months of the year. And I'm curious, on the case acceptance side, on the dental business side, what are some things that you believe dental practice owners need to really be focusing on to finish the year strong?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the most important things that doctors and teams should be focusing on right now is really looking back. As Kathy Jameson would say, 25 business systems. I believe that there's 28, 29 business systems now that we've added so much technology. However, look at the business systems and see which ones are not working to the efficiency that you're looking for, and go back and reverse engineer. Most of the times we'll find that when we look at that retention for recall, retention for case acceptance, retention for patients coming back for continued treatment, or making sure that patients who have completed the dentistry are actually on a recare system is important. And so a lot of offices and a lot of teams are not spending enough time on that. And that's something I had to learn over the years. I used to think that by just educating a team member and training them for 2 or 3 days, that was enough. And what I learned was it's a continuous, ongoing training, and not just for the person that's collecting the payment or the treatment or financial coordinators, but for the entire team, the dental assistants, the hygienists, the person that's running the floor. I like to have someone that I call they're a patient coordinator, but they're a floor runner. They're making sure everyone's running on time. All the treatment plans are being followed accordingly. So things like that, and developing roles that are going to make things more efficient. So going back, making sure our marketing is working well, our retention is intact. And, if you haven't made the numbers meet the goals for the first, second, and third quarter that you were hoping for, then really hone in and have some serious team meetings and some motivational team meetings and reverse engineer, figure out where the bottleneck is happening, and really try to end the year big, mostly with case acceptance, patient retention, having patients maximize their insurance benefits, but also pay attention to those treatments that were started but not completed, and that patient is not going to come back till April or March of next year on their next 6 months recall. We could piggyback between December and January to get those patients continuously going.
I love your idea about re-engineering some of the roles in the dental practice to find the bottlenecks and to make things more efficient. Knowing that we're planning for 2025 now, is that something that you would advise all dental practices to do and really see the strengths of your team members and where they could fit in there?
Yes, absolutely. And put your team members at choice. You will find that there are some people, some team members that are motivated by numbers, but some are motivated by developing and maintaining the connection to the patients. They love talking and helping. If you ever ask your team, what makes you love dentistry? What is your passion? Very often their feedback would be, I love helping people. And that's the team member you want as the connector. You want them being the person as a patient coordinator that's keeping the floor running, not just a dental assistant, because your dental assistant is chairside focusing on supporting the dentist. And the front office is at the front office desk supporting the practice, the face and the voice of the practice and patient experience. But that additional team member to make sure the practice is running smoothly, train them on making sure that we're following through with treatment plans, making sure we're running on time, making sure the patients are having an exceptional treatment experience. And it's not just your treatment coordinator, because your treatment coordinator is usually with someone closing a case, right? Mm-hmm. So it's got to be someone that's dedicated to making sure that the quality stays in place. The services that I offer, I do case acceptance and treatment plan coaching. However, I develop and train and coach individual team positions as well. It could be your financial coordinator and treatment coordinator, your front office on how to answer the phones, your insurance coordinator on making sure we're following through on revenue management. So making sure the claims are being paid on time, that we're submitting them correctly with the proper narratives. And if not, if we're doing it outsourced, meaning we have a billing company outsourced, that there's a team member that's checking in and following up with that outsourced company every single month, every single day, because otherwise there will be bottlenecking. Also making sure that there is a training process in your practice on everything. Verbal skills, how to answer the phones. What do you say when a patient has questions or is not having the greatest experience? Conflict resolution. Just constantly be training, putting it on your calendar. And also I am a practice leadership coach, and I do something called a ELI 360, which is it tracks individual stress response. And what I found was this was a game changer. A lot of times what we find in dentistry has a lot of, deadlines. So that increases our stress. And if we are able to understand and reverse engineer what the stress response is, we will be able to have the right individual, right team member in the right seats on the bus. And so it's important to take all of that into consideration when running your practice efficiently.
So I've got to ask, because we talked a little bit, I joked about Linda Miles and I get to hear her say that, but I want to ask you about the big case acceptance mistakes that maybe are made. Is it sometimes us talking too much in the dental practice?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, it is. In case acceptance, the number one mistake we make is judging, right? Judging and making a lot of assumptions about who this patient is, what their previous experience was like, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what their financial situation is like, what their thoughts and beliefs are regarding insurance. These are all things that we judge and make assumptions about. So that's the number one mistake. The number two mistake is not asking empowering questions and open-ended questions, allowing the patient to really open up and tell you what has really been getting in the way of them moving forward. And by asking the right empowering and follow-up questions, you would be shocked as to what you can uncover. I know sometimes treatment and financial coordinators may feel pressure to move faster, but my philosophy is with case acceptance, it takes as long as it takes. Using the proper verbal skills, you can open up the conversation, or you could use closed-ended questions to shut down the conversation and maybe reinvite a patient back in at a later date. And that works with all team members, dental assistants, front office, dental hygienists, and the dentist. So it's imperative to really have the right verbal skills and have a case acceptance process in your practice.
I'm really glad you said that, because I feel like so many treatment managers, those case acceptance managers, that they feel defeated whenever somebody says no. And so often it may not be no completely, it just may be no, not at this time.
Right.
And having to deal with that and understand that and prepare for that follow-up is such a critical thing, it seems like.
Right. And it's so powerful what you just said. And it's also anticipating the objection, right? So if we asked really good open-ended questions and really dig deeper and connect with that patient, we are able to uncover or predict or basically understand what objections could be coming and start to prepare for that. And sometimes when the patient says no, it's like you said, it's no for right now, but it doesn't mean no forever. Or it's an opportunity to dig deeper and to see what is it that we can do to help this patient. And we may be surprised. It could have been something that they just weren't confident in sharing with us. And the fact that we took that extra time and care to ask, allow them to open up and tell you what it is. And now you have an opportunity to help them find solutions to that.
This is going to sound like a silly question, but I think it's something that I hear about so many times in the dental practice, that we put people in charge of talking about money who aren't confident talking about money, and how important it is, that, like you said earlier, to find that right person for the right role.
Yes. And that's key. All of our team members that we made a decision to hire are valued team members because we put them through the process. We interviewed them, we asked questions, we started working with them, but we may have missed, certain things such as what is their philosophy regarding, money and large treatment plans, and or what is their comfort level with connecting with patients closely, right? And really getting close to a patient to help them solve problems. And if we didn't find these challenges early in the process, then we end up blaming them for not being a good financial or treatment coordinator. And it might just be that we didn't create enough awareness as to what the role entails and help them work through that. Sometimes all they need is a coach and a trainer to help them through that and to let them know it's okay. And that's where someone like myself comes in and facilitates that space to be able to have that happen.
Since you just touched on that, let's make sure that people know where to learn more about you, how to get a hold of you, so that they could start 2025 off strong.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I could be reached at thepracticenavigator.com. That's my website. You can also call me or text me on my cell phone. It's 347-577-9102. You can also reach me by sending me an email at sophia@thepracticenavigator.com, or you could go to LinkedIn under Sophia Dunkley at thepracticenavigator.com, and you reach me there.
Sophia's got a lot of ways to get a hold of her, and we're going to make sure every one of those is in the show notes, so it'll be easy for you to find how to get hold of Sophia. Sophia, I really appreciate the conversation today. Thanks so much for your time and your expertise as well.
Thank you so much. It's my honor and my pleasure to speak with you today, Kevin. And I hope that, this message gets out to a lot of people that are in need and looking for solutions. I'm here to help. I'm very passionate about what I do.
And that's one thing I love about Speaking Consulting Network, is the passion that's within the members, like Sophia. So make sure, absolutely, if you have questions, Sophia's given her information. Make sure that you reach out to her. And make sure that you join us next time for another episode of the Speaking Consulting Network podcast. Until then, my name is Kevin Henry, host of the SCM podcast, signing off, wishing you nothing but success ahead.
Thank you.